Hello. So this is a video talking about my experiences of designing and uploading icons to the Noun project. It's a website that a colleague of mine told me about, and we were talking about icons, iconography. I really enjoy designing icons. I've done it quite a lot as part of my product designer jobs over the years, and it's just something I enjoy doing, enjoy the process, enjoy trying to find new ways to express common icons where I can, but equally I just find it's just quite fun for me to kind of create a consistent set of icons in my preferred style, which is sort of minimal modern style. So anyway, we were talking about icons, and he recommended the Noun project and said that it's a really good place to upload icon designs, partly because you can upload individual icons. You don't have to have a kind of a comprehensive pack or collection of icons, which I didn't have at the time. So I really like the sound of the fact that you could just design an icon, submit it, and then if it got approved, you could in theory start getting money in for that. I'm very aware that it wasn't going to be life-changing money, but I just kind of thought if I can have fun designing some icons, submit them, if they get approved and they get some downloads, and I get a bit of money for buy a drink each month or something, treat myself to some sweets, then why not give it a go? So I thought it'd be worth sort of talking you through my experience, really, from trying to go back to the start. I haven't filmed the entire process, so some of it's going to be kind of filling in the blanks a bit, but I spent a bit of time looking into it myself before I started, and just didn't feel like there was really as much content out there, sort of video content out there, as I was expecting it to be. That's often the way that I tend to go first when I'm learning a new skill or learning something for the first time. I tend to go to YouTube and find some videos and absorb as much sort of information as I can that way. And there just didn't really seem to be a lot out there. There's lots of videos about how to use icons from the Noun project in your projects as a non-designer, but it just didn't seem to be many from the designer's perspective. So this may or may not be interesting to you, but hopefully it might be interesting to someone out there. So I just thought I'd sort of give a bit of a rundown. What I'm planning on doing as well is I've only just started submitting them last month, so we're now towards the end of August 2022. My first submissions were in July of 2022, so it's still very early days. So what I'm planning on doing is filming this video over the next couple of months, checking in to sort of track my progress, really, and whether I managed to get enough to buy a couple of drinks out of it, sort of thing. So first of all, I guess we should start, for anyone who's not familiar, with taking a look at the Noun project. So here we are. So this is the nounproject.com. So icons and photos for everything. Search over 3 million icons. It doesn't say how many photos there are. I think the photos is a newer feature, so probably not 3 million, but lots of icons. And you can see already straight away quite a range of styles, much more illustrative and more complex icons, but then equally some that are a bit more sort of minimalist or classic. I suppose you can't see what my mouse is doing. Let's switch that up. There we go. Yeah, so something like this, a bit more minimal, a bit more classic. But yeah, real range of styles. You can see that you can get collections of icons and photos, sort of themed collections, different styles. There's almost like line art. These ones here, some blog posts and some information around how it works. So that's it in a nutshell. So I can kind of come here and I can search for home, and we'll see in a second that we get a whole load of home icons. So 79,000 home icons, real range of styles. Again, ranging from very minimal up to much more detailed, slightly more abstract, and then kind of more niche ones. So there's, seems to be a home within a heart, kind of more of an isometric one here. So yeah, you can see straight away there's a lot here. So it's great. It's great for end users. There's a huge selection. I guess a little bit harder as a designer to kind of get yourself seen. But we'll go into all of that in a minute. So yeah, I'll run you through the process, I guess. My plan for this video really is to talk about how I started with submitting icons, how that went, lessons I learnt, and then, yeah, as I say, I have now got some icons that are up on the site, been approved. So the plan is to sort of track the progress of them over the next couple of months, and kind of include those check-ins as part of this video. And also I thought it'd be quite fun to design an icon and then show the actual process of submitting that. So let's start there, because why not? So we'll jump over to Figma, which is my design tool of choice. So got a blank frame, blank artboard here. So for the Noun project, I'm going to design this icon specifically for the Noun project. So I'm going to just stick to their guidelines, which are relatively basic. You can get a lot more detailed with grids and all sorts of clever things if you're doing these icons. If you're doing if you're doing iconography more seriously as your job, for example, or you're creating icons for a bespoke client project or something like that, you'd probably want to be a bit more methodical with it. But my natural approach is to be a bit more organic, I guess, and just stick within the guidelines. So the basic guidelines for the Noun project are your file should be 100 pixels square. So we've got artboard here, it's 100 pixels by 100 pixels up here. Your design needs to be solid black, one color, solid black, no other colors in the final file, no strokes, no paths or strokes in the final design. It has to all be outlined flat vector in SVG format when you export and upload it to the website. So yeah, here we go. So we're in Figma, and I thought we'd do a clock icon. So this is going to be a bit of a spoiler for when I start talking about my first submission. But one thing I have learnt is it seems to be better received in terms of getting approval for your designs if you give the recommended 5 pixels padding around the edge of your SVG file. My first batch of uploads I didn't do that, and there's also something else I didn't do, and I'm not sure exactly which one of those was the reason that they got denied. Again, spoiler alert. So yeah, so I tend to now always make sure that I've got a good 5 pixel border padding, I guess, around the finished icon. So what we'll do, we'll start off with a 90 pixel circle, put down our circles in our middle. So straight away we've got that 5 pixel padding. We can see it on the edges here. Yeah, I don't know how clear that is, but 5 pixels padding there. Okay. So what I'm going to do as well, when it's easily done, I try to create an outline, stroked version, and a filled version of the same icon. Obviously converting the strokes before exporting it. So I'll start here with the outlined design. So I think we'll go for, let's say 9. The thing here is trying to get the weight of this line, and trying to keep it consistent with my other icons I've already uploaded, which we haven't shown yet. But trying to find that balance between quite a chunky line weight, but then equally you don't want your You don't want it so chunky that you've got no space in the middle here for your minute and your hour hands. So I think 9 feels like quite a good compromise. We'll obviously do a little bit of comparison, and it's good to zoom right out and see what it looks like really small, and get a bit of try and get a bit of different context here just to see how it looks at different sizes, because people are unlikely to have it at this sort of size on a website or an app. It's much more likely to be sort of small, like something like this. So yeah, we'll go with a 9 pixel line weight for now. So that's our outline of the clock. And then the next thing really is just to add in our minute hand and our hour hand. So I'm going to just sort of I'll draw my line in. I know that's not in the right place, but I can correct that in a minute. So in fact, let's just correct it now. So I want this to be slightly thinner than that outside line weight. So let's try 7. Yeah, that feels quite good. Again, another thing that I have in terms of my general aesthetic that I go for with my icons, I do like to have quite rounded, soft lines and strokes and that sort of thing. So we're going to round the edges here, and then we'll come in now. We know that's in the middle, so I'm going to grab this point and make a shorter hour hand, and we'll go for something like that. So 12 and 3. So we'll go for something approximating 2-ish. Okay, so in theory, we have a clock there. I kind of already feel like it's probably not the balance of it's probably not quite right. In fact, that's actually not quite worked right. There we go. Want that to be a single path if we can, just make it a bit easier. We're going to need to come in here and give that a round joint. There we go. So I can kind of already tell that this doesn't quite feel right. The line right here feels a little bit light in comparison to the outside, which I do want it to be not quite as heavy, but that feels probably too much of a jump there. So what we're going to do is zoom out, and yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Might just play around with it a little bit longer. Pull it up a bit. Pull it out a bit. Might even just. That's quite nice. Actually, gives it a bit more. Makes it a bit more. Fills that space a little bit better. We still know that. Oh, do we know that's in the middle? No, don't know that's in the middle actually. So obviously our middle point is going to be 50 pixels. There, right? Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, so that's not looking too bad actually. What I might do, I might just bump this up to 8 pixels on that line weight. That feels a bit nice actually. A bit more. Bit less of a jump between the this outer line weight and the inner one. Sorry, technical issues. Yes, okay, so that actually feels quite nice. So that's our. Well, let's just keep that as our first clock for now. And one thing I should say: when you're uploading icons to the Noun project, your naming structure has to be very basic. So you don't name your icon clock stroke and clock fill. You just name if you've got the same icon in a stroke outline, a stroke design, and a fill design. You should just call them both clock. So what I've been doing is naming my files accordingly. So let's create that's clock 1 for that artboard. Let's call this clock 2. So then what we're going to do, we're going to take the stroke off here and make that a fill. And again, it's got to be absolute black in terms of the hex code. Then we're going to grab our path That's interesting. You're not seeing my menu. Let's change that up. Sorry. I also wouldn't have been seeing my mouse. That's not very helpful. Okay, so we're grabbing our path. There we go. And we're going to say outline stroke. So now this is a shape now, a vector, no longer a path. We're going to grab that, and I'm going to try a couple of things here. So I'm going to make a copy first. Let's just see how that looks by just straight up taking that off there. Okay, so that's not actually too bad. What I was wondering was whether often, because the visual balance on this one, on this fill version, the visual balance of it comes from the thickness of this outer circle, and then that balance with the minute and hour hands here. So sometimes when you then switch that to be a fill, it means that the balance changes quite a bit, because actually this shape now feels like it finishes further from the edge, even though it doesn't. It can kind of visually feel a bit different. So sometimes you want to, the reason I made that copy was because sometimes you might want to come in here and move these up a little bit more. I'll leave those ones as they are, and then we try to subtracting that. But actually I think I prefer it leaving it how it was, so we'll get rid of that one. So there we go, that's in a couple of minutes. We've got now 2 new icons here. So in fact what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back before I outlined that, and we're just going to make this stroke white, because I want to keep, I haven't always been doing this, to be honest, but what I want to start doing now is keeping my original source designs, hence why this page in the file is called source, so that everything that's a path or a stroke or a fill, a stroke is still the kind of the original element. And then I'm going to grab these, take them to this is my file where I'm actually well, I've been building my previous icons that I've already uploaded. Is that going to jump? Yeah. So I've just been using this red line to keep track of which icons I've already uploaded and which ones I've designed but not uploaded. So for example, I've uploaded up to this icon here, this bin icon. I'm putting these two on this side because I have designed them but not loaded them yet. So now we're in the page where I'm actually sort of storing these finished files, finished icons. So the first thing I need to do is now I'm going to outline the stroke there, outline a stroke on that, subtract that. I'm going to outline the stroke on that shape, and then you don't. I don't think you need to do this, but I have been merging, using the union selection feature and merging them into a single union element here. I don't think you have to do that. I don't think that matters, but and this already is a subtract elements. That's fine. But yeah, just that's what's worked, and my most recent designs have been approved for submission. So I'm going to just stick with that. Lastly, I'm just going to remove this white background. Now, it doesn't have to do that because it's set. Where is it? I can't even see it. There we go. So once you say that you're going to want to export this artboard, you see that when I change that, you see there's that checkbox is going to appear here that says show and exports. Excuse me. So you could just go there, click that, disable that, so that then when you export this SVG file, it won't have that white background, and then that's fine. That's what you need for the Noun project. It needs to not have that white background, but I just find it easier when designing it to have that in there. But what I'm actually going to do for both of them is just go in and remove that as another way of reminding myself that these are done, these are finished, they're ready to go. So we're going to grab both those artboards again. We're going to change the export to SVG. Obviously they're named clock 1 and clock 2 just to keep it nice and simple. We'll hit export, and then we're going to, you can see my slightly messy folding structure. Drop them in the folder where the rest of them are. Right, now we're going to jump back here. We'll come back to that. So back to the Noun project, and we're going to upload them. So we click on my icon up here, click on upload. There's a note here that just explains that it's taking a bit longer than normal for the approval process. So currently, so where are we? End of 23rd of August 2022. My most recent batch of uploads has just been approved a couple of days ago, and that I think took almost exactly 3 weeks to be approved. The previous upload, my first upload, there was a single icon I uploaded. My first successfully uploaded approved icon, I think that took almost bang on 2 weeks to be approved. So it seems to vary a bit, but yeah, you generally not looking at hours, you're looking at 2 or 3 weeks, that sort of thing. So let's just run through some details, which again I've already gone over. So it has to be an SVG, has to be black, no other colours, has to be 100 pixels. We suggest using 5 pixel buffer. As I say, one of the things that I did when I first tried to upload icons, or one of the things I didn't do, sorry, was I didn't include that 5 pixel buffer, and that batch got declined. There's one other thing that I didn't do, which I'll talk about in a second actually. And then when I did my next single, when I did my first successful upload of one icon, I made 2 changes, did 2 things differently, and it got approved. And so I've carried that on now, and I'm not exactly sure which one or both of those changes I did got them approved, because it's exactly the same icons. I just made a couple of changes to the files essentially. So I don't know exactly which change it was that got them approved instead of declined, but I'm just sticking with both. So I'm always making sure to add that 5 pixel buffer. Ungroup any shapes, be sure to use compound paths, no strokes. Yeah, so it's everything I've already said. So that's the kind of basics. There's, you know, if you're not sure what an SVG is, you can get a bit more information. I would probably hazard a guess that if you're looking to design icons to upload to the Noun project, then you probably are familiar with SVGs, but it does give that information if not. There's a whole bit of information which we can look at quickly. The Creator's Handbook that talks through things like technical guidelines, so you know, those same sort of things. Gives advice on sort of how to create and lay out and design your icons. Yes, there's always different sections of kind of useful things. It talks about how to name them, how to use tags, what the licenses mean. Talks about how you get paid as a creator, which again we'll come back to. But that's quite handy. So the Creator's Handbook is quite useful, something I've referred to a few times. But now we're just going to click on Upload Icons. You have the option here to say that you're creating a set of icons, a collection. That's not how I'm doing it currently. I'm just uploading one or some icons as and when I get a chance to create them. So we're going to say individual icons, one or more standalone icons not affiliated with a collection. I'm going to say that and drop SVGs here. So I'm just going to try and hide my messy file system over here, and we're going to grab clock 1, clock 2, drop those on there, so we can see straight away if there was any issues with the files. If I had some colours in there that shouldn't be there, anything other than black. If I had paths or strokes that hadn't been turned into outlines, compound paths, then it would tell me at this point. It's pretty quick, pretty clever at working that out. So I'm going to give them both the same name, clock and clock, and what we'll see is that once I've given them the name, these little cards sort of effectively spin round, and we now can add some tags. So so that's what we're going to do. So this is actually, let's get up the creative handbook again in the background. So this is the other thing that I think caused my first batch of, I think I tried to upload around, I think it was 21 icons was my first batch that I tried to upload, and all 21 of them got declined. So the first thing that I didn't do was I didn't give any buffer, I didn't give that 5 pixel buffer padding around the edge of any of the icons. So that's one thing I didn't do that I've since changed, and I always do that now, and my recent ones have been getting approved. The second thing is this tag. So here you can see, it's a bit confusing in my opinion. It says add a few tags, brackets, 1 to 5 tags. But then elsewhere in the Creator's Handbook, the section on tags, search words, how to make your icons more searchable. Search words are words that relate to an individual icon. They allow users to find it without just searching for its name. And then in sort of slight bold text, you must use exactly 5 search words. And again here, use 5 search words. And then example of things you shouldn't do. Less than 5 words will not be accepted. So I saw that in the Creator's Handbook, and I did as best I could. With those first 21, I tried to use 5 tags where I could, but then what I think is confusing is that when you're here, it just says add a few tags, 1 to 5 tags. So I thought, okay, that's fine. Tried to add 5 tags to that first batch of icons where I could, but then there was some where I just really couldn't think of 5 tags to add, 5 search words to add. So I didn't. So between that and or not having that 5 pixel buffer, got that entire first batch declined. Now some of those did have 5 tags on, so that makes me think that it was either the combination of both of those things, or it was either if you don't have 5 tags, or if you don't have that 5 pixel buffer. I don't know for sure. Again, we'll go into that in more detail. I don't think it's very clear when you get a declined submission. I don't think it's very clear, well, it's not very clear what the specific reason is at all. But yeah, so what I do now, I make sure I always give 5 tags. I obviously try to keep them as specific to the icon as I can, but there are times where you have to sort of be a bit creative in your tagging to make sure you get the 5. And then, as I say, I always give that 5 pixel padding on the edge. So we're going to start off for both. We're going to give the exact same tags because they're the same icon. The only difference is that one is filled and one is a stroke. But as I say, it does go over it somewhere in here. How to name? Yeah, there's no need to add numbers, even if you're adding multiple versions. So it says no need to add a design style to your icons names. So yeah, we're going to be using exactly the same tags. So clock, time, timer. See, straight away I'm already thinking, I'm slightly struggling to think of 5 tags here. I'm sure if there is anyone ever watching this video, I'm sure you're just shouting tags at me. But clock, time, timer, yeah, this is interesting one. What else could we call this? Clock face. Timed. There we go. So they're all relevant. People are probably not likely to search for clock face, but it gets rid of 5 tags. So let's go with that. Clock, time, timer, clock face, timed. Okay, so we now have a name. So clock for both files. 5 tags. We've got that 5 pixel padding around the outside of it. All of them. They're all solid, both solid black. All of the paths and paths and strokes have been outlined and turned into compound paths. So that should all be fine. So now we're just going to hit upload. Just take a look. Your icons before they're approved. So as I say, I've found that it's taken around 2 to 3 weeks. I've had 2 successful batches of icons approved. The first was a single icon in 2 weeks, and the second was a batch of 40, I think, 40 icons. It took 3 weeks to get approved. So I guess this will be somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks. So we can see that now in my... Oh, I've already got some other icons that are awaiting moderation. So these ones here, so there are 2 new clock icons there. And we've got some other icons here which are already awaiting approval. So you can see that we've got, stroke and fill versions of some here. So flag, email, image, sort of placeholder, bin. That's just a single sort of fill icon, and then these are sort of collections, playlist sort of icons. I've already got 2 filled versions, so I've now uploaded 2 stroked versions. So that's my batch of icons that are awaiting moderation. If we go to my dashboard, we can see I've got, these are all my icons that have been approved. This is some of my icons that have been approved. I've had 21 denied, so we'll have a quick look at those. So you can see straight away that actually, well, I haven't shown you, but these are exactly the same icons as the ones that are now approved. Literally the only difference is that I've added 5 pixels padding, and I've made sure I use exactly 5 tags. But yes, this first batch of whatever it was, 21, got declined. Now I've got all of these ones have been approved. There's a bit of a interesting UI bug here. The top header menu actually crops off the top of the content. But anyway, so these are my icons that have been approved. You can see, I don't know if you might not have noticed, but some of these are the same icons that originally got disapproved, declined, and a few others. So this is the first one. This is my first icon that got approved. So I had that first batch declined, made those changes to the padding around the edges, and making sure I use 5 tags. Just uploaded 1 icon just to see if that then made any difference, which it did. This is the first one that got approved. So it says uploaded July 13th. That was when I actually uploaded it, but as I say, it was 2 weeks later, sort of right at the end of July, beginning of August, that it actually got approved and appeared on the site. It had, so yes, that was my first one, and since then I've had 40 more approved, and as you just saw, I've got about 9 or 10 now currently pending approval. You can see in here, it gives you a breakdown of how many times these have been downloaded. So I'm pretty happy with this. These have only been up for, I'm not sure exactly when they went live on the site, but it's probably been about 2 days. You can see some of them haven't had any downloads, so that's fine. I'm not actually as pleased with these ones. The stroke weight feels a bit too thin compared to the rest of the batch. So I'm not a massive fan of those ones anyway. So yeah, there's a few that haven't been downloaded, but the vast majority have had at least a couple of downloads or more. Got this one had 202. This one's had nearly 200, 45. So some of them have had a decent number. 41 again, 41, 53, 161 there. Can't see these ones because the UI crops them off. If you squeeze that down, you can then see it. So I don't know, that's a bit of a bug there. But so yeah, these are my live icons now. The next thing I was going to show was royalties. So obviously, part of this and part of the reason I wanted to do it was to make a bit of coffee money or whatever. Over time, again, not expecting to make any kind of groundbreaking amounts of money, but just to, I've always been really interested in doing some passive income stuff, and I've never had much success getting anything approved by any of the sites I've tried using before. So it's just going to be quite fun, I think, to have a tiny bit of money trickling in from this. So far, what are we looking at here? Let's go back to my dashboard actually. So as I said, that first one icon that was the first one I got approved right at the end of July. Possibly, must have even been maybe the 30th of July. 30th or is it 31st of July? I can't remember. 30th or 31st of July, so literally right in the month. and it got downloaded 8 times in that day or two that it was live in July for. Now, 4 of those, half of those downloads, were free downloads. So, as you can see here, you can download any icon on the Noun project for free, and you just have to give a credit when you use it. I'm a bit dubious about whether that actually ever happens, but supposedly people agree that they'll download it for free and then they'll add a credit when they use it. So half of those 8 downloads were free downloads. So that's, fine. It means that someone's out there, someone liked it enough to want to use it, but not pay for it. Didn't like it enough to pay for it. They liked enough to use it for free. Pro download, so no single purchase. This is the most lucrative payment method. So someone can pay, I think it's $2.99 or $3.99, maybe $2.99, I think. Sorry, and just as a one-off payment to buy a single icon, and for that you get $1.80 every time someone does that. But I suspect that you don't get very many of those. Pro downloads, so that's where someone pays a monthly subscription fee to the Noun project, and for that subscription they can download as many icons as they want without having to do any kind of accreditation or crediting, sorry. And this is worked out by the Noun project takes there you go, total shared subscription and prepaid revenue, divvies it up by however many icons were downloaded in total on the website, and then gives you your share based on how many of those downloads were of your icons. So you can see that 3 subscribing users downloaded my one icon in those 1 or 2 days in end of July 3 times, and that earned me 14 cents. Great. Then the final one is API usage. So it's similar to Pro downloads. A user pays a subscription fee for API access, and then the site calculates the total share across designers, across creators, and you get your share of 40% of that. And so that happened. I got one of those downloads for 1 cent. So between 3 icons at 14 cents and 1 icon at 1 cent, I made a whopping total of 43 cents in July. So part of me was very happy for the fact that I finally, after a few tries, few failed attempts previously at creating other design resources that didn't get approved on the sites that I was submitting them to, I was very happy to have content that I created on a website that someone could go to and potentially choose to pay to download and use. So I was really chuffed with that. Was never expecting to get vast sums of money from it, which is good because I didn't, as you can see here. But again, not interested, not looking to quit my job and become a full-time creator on the Noun project. But if I can get a bit of money trickling in through it, enough to, I don't know, buy a couple of drinks or get some more equipment for my office or something, over time, gradually, then that's fine by me. So 43 cents. So, I was encouraged and curious to see what would happen once I'd uploaded a much bigger batch. This is all just off one icon. These 8 downloads was actually just off one icon that I'd had approved. And as I say, it was in certainly no more than 2 days, maybe 1 day of it being live in July. I had four paying downloads, so that's fine. Now I've got 41 icons live on the site. They've all been approved, and at last count, so that's all these ones here. At last count, I had I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was about 1,058 downloads. Now these have only been live since I think some point yesterday morning, so probably talking about 36 hours roughly they've been live, and they've already had over 1,000 downloads, so I'm really happy with that. As you can see, there's several, 161, 191, 203. In fact, that's gone up since I last looked, I think, isn't it? There's a few that have had bigger chunks of downloads, and then there's some that have had one download no downloads. Yeah, and so this is that original one that was live for a day or two in July. So that's gone from 8 to 17. So that's nice. That's more than doubled already this month. So that's good progress. And as I say, I'm currently at just over 1,000 downloads. So I'm expecting a lot of that to be free downloads based on what happened in July, based on some other research I've done. I'm expecting the vast chunk of that thousands to be free downloads. But even if that is the case, and there's not a huge amount of that 1,000 that are paid downloads, and again, I'm not expecting any single purchases. I'm expecting it to all be between the pro downloads and the API. But working out on average, I'm hoping that I'll get a few dollars from that. I'll find out in probably a couple of weeks' time. So we're as I say, 23rd of August now. The final royalty calculation for August will be done at the first sort of week or so of September, which is when I'll find out how much I've earned in total. Once I've got over $10 in my account, I can then transfer that out to my PayPal. So it'd be lovely if I can get to $10. We'll find out. As I said at the start, my plan is to come back, carry on filming some more content for this video once I have those royalty figures for August, and then again in September, and then I'll see whether that I'll stop there or potentially keep looking. I don't know. But yes, that's where my journey is at currently with the Noun project. I think, as I say, it's been really encouraging seeing. It seems to be a sort of an exponential return that, the more icons you can get up there, the more downloads you're going to get, because even if someone doesn't particularly like one of these icons no one likes these icons that have had no downloads, but I've got enough there that actually there's some that are much more popular, and that balances out the ones that aren't popular at all. So I think what I'm at this point, my sort of stance on it at this point, about a month in, is I'm keen to try and keep going, and I would like to try and submit icons every month. I'm not going to set any kind of particular target on that, because life is busy and hectic, and I just don't always have the chance to do as much of this sort of side hustle stuff as I'd like to. So I'm not going to sort of burden myself with targets or goals, but I just would like to try and be uploading some icons every month, and sort of keeping active, keeping adding new icons regularly. I also wonder if newer icons potentially get sort of pushed. There's obviously some sort of algorithm at work here. When you're searching for icons, there's any kind of common icon, there's going to be so many on there. There's obviously some sort of stuff going on behind the scenes to determine which icon to show at the top of the search results and which icon to show on page 200 of the search results, sort of thing. So I wonder if possibly new icons are maybe sort of pushed up a bit. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it's probably worth trying to keep a steady flow of new designs, new icons coming up each month. So that is my plan. One thing I didn't mention, actually, I probably should talk about, when you go to upload an icon, where is it? Here, okay. So you can see that there's actually a limit. So I've currently, for August, I've got 39 icons left that I can upload. So I think when I first came to it, I think it said 50. So I guess I've maybe uploaded 11 icons then, presumably this month. I've got 39 left, so there is a limit. As I say, I think it's 50. So you are restricted in that, and you can't do more than 50 a month. But for me, that's absolutely fine. Like I say, it's just a sort of side hustle thing, something I do when I get the odd bit of spare time here and there, away from my sort of full-time job and my family life. So I'm not looking to absolutely spam the website with more than 50 icons a month. I doubt I'll ever hit 50 icons a month, really. So yeah, that's fine for me. So there is that limit, just so you're aware of that. But as I say, I think that's fine. If you're doing 40 or 50 icons every month, then I think that's plenty, really. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now. That's already a substantially longer video than I was expecting it to be. So if anyone is watching this, and if anyone has stayed with it up until this point, then thank you very much. I really appreciate that. As I say, what I'll do, I'll come back whenever I get my royalty stats for August. I'll come back and do another bit of footage to go over that, and then again in September. But until you cut to Future Dave, I'm gonna sign off there and say, yeah, thanks very much, and over to Future Dave now.